Was this the smoke that the Street Profits were supposed to get in the WWE Draft? Yes, we're getting into all of it today on an exciting episode of Sportskeeda Wrestling's top story of the day. That's right, you see it right there. Were the Street Profits supposed to be broken up in the draft? We'll get into all of that, plus an exclusive clip from our big interview with Drew McIntyre today. Sportskeeda, share the link of your stink. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, everybody. Hey, what's up? It's Jeremy Bennett over there in Nebraska, if you ask you. I am Kev Callum here in the greatest wrestling city in the world, Chicago, Illinois. We have a lot to get into today. Your comments on screen driving the conversation. Drew McIntyre. We just dropped a big interview with him talking about the Royal Rumble and the big WWE Super shows that were announced that are going on sale this Friday. We'll talk about that. A lot to get into. Thank you so much, TJ Santiago, the diehards. If you're with us for the first time, if you were with us for 3 hours during a live watch-along last night of Monday Night Raw, if you watch Vince Russo, bro, talk about Monday Night Raw, all that is up on our channel. A lot of fresh content for you. Jeremy, let's jump right into our top story of the day. The Street Profits were almost broken up in the draft.
Yeah, well, it was an expectation of a lot of people, especially after Montez Ford's performance in the main event of SmackDown against Roman Reigns a week ago. There was reportedly from PW Insider reports that they were going to split up the Street Profits and put Montez Ford on Monday Night Raw with his wife Bianca Belair and Angelo Dawkins staying on SmackDown. But as we found out throughout the evening, we found out that the Street Profits did get drafted together. The talk about the split had kind of lessened as we were getting closer to the draft. Even though there was that main event that Tez did do very well in, they decided to not pull that trigger and instead split T-Bar and Mace up, which is probably, it's probably the better short-term idea. I know a lot of people were 50-50 on Street Profits because they know Montez can be a single star easily. And Dawkins, he could probably be he could be a pretty good heel, possibly a monster heel. But it just, a lot of people were 50-50 on it because they thought, oh, well, maybe it's the time, maybe it's the time for them to, there's still stuff for them to do in the main roster here. And, I don't know. What did you think, Kev? Did you think,
I'm 50-50. I think the Street Profits have done a lot. I mean, even when they threw that graphic up on screen and they got drafted to Raw, or they're going back to Raw. This is a team now that, this is just an example of how quickly things move in WWE and how much more content is created. You can break up a tag team within 3 or 4 years. That's kind of unheard of back in the kind of 90s, 80s. You go for 5 or 6 years, unless one of you guys blows up really quickly. The Rockers, the Hart Foundation. The Hart Foundation was together for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Before Bret Hart got to be a solo act. It's a completely different thing. And when people compare it to that, I was like, it's a completely different animal. There's so much more content that comes out. The pages of the book are much thicker. You're telling a lot more stories with a lot more people. You're doing a lot more things. 2 different brands. There's 6 hours of front end content every single week just on television, not let alone pay-per-views. So you're doing this a lot. Street Profits have already won the titles on Raw, SmackDown together. I don't think they ever won them in NXT, correct? Am I wrong on that? They never got to win those belts in NXT.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So, how many more stories can you tell with these guys?
Yeah. The only thing you could really do with them at this point is turn them heel. That's about the only thing they've yet to do.
I don't know if you want to do that because they're such a feel-good act and they're still very much over. You put them in front of a live crowd, that crowd eats them up. That crowd yells, "We want the smoke."
They did win the tag titles once.
My fantasy booking, I want this. People come to a show want to see stars that they can cheer, and Street Profits are a part of that. If it's not, that isn't broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They did win the NXT tag team titles on one occasion, and then they have won the Raw and SmackDown titles also each on one occasion. So it's interesting because he did. They mentioned in the PW Insider article that Ford did receive a lot of praise on social media for his non-title singles match with Roman, which was warranted because it was a very good performance by Montez. A lot of people did think the Street Profits have done all they can do, and there's not much else they can do. They've already feuded with the New Day. They've already feuded with the Usos. Maybe it was the time to pull that trigger.
Now you got to make a bunch of new teams because you broke up a majority of the tag teams in general across the board in WWE.
Yeah, so that's what WWE does now. Vince does. I don't think Vince has put such a high regard in the tag division. For the longest time, it was the tag champs and then whatever they could throw together. At least now it's been a little more of a focus in the tag division, especially when you have two sets of belts. But it'd be interesting to see, what they really do going forward if they really start to still highlight Montez a lot more solo as compared to Angelo.
Absolutely. If you're just joining us, there on the bottom is the ticker, all the draft results from this week's Monday Night Raw. We also have backstage news on kind of the fallout of this because this directly affects a lot of the WWE talent. This is how they tour. This is how they're going to perform. This is what TV show they're going to be presented on. There is a massive difference in terms of audience, probably about 1 million to 2 million each week, at least. So it's pretty significant here. Let's talk about this. WWE names not in the WWE draft. If you're just joining us, Drew McIntyre, exclusive clip with him in this episode coming up in just a few minutes. But we had a lot of big names that were not included in the draft this year.
Yeah, thanks to Fightful Select for putting together the list of notable talent that was not in the draft pool. Some of them for obvious reasons. They kind of jump around here, but they start off with Bayley. Obviously, she had injured her ACL, so she's out until close to, I would say close to Mania is probably what she's out for. Lacey Evans is currently on maternity leave. No word on when she'll be back yet. Asuka has been sidelined since July. Again, they never really acknowledged her injury, so we don't know how long she's going to be out. We only happen to know she was injured from a photo that was posted where she was in a rather large cast or apparatus on her arm. Lucha House Party, kind of interesting because Grand Metalik has asked for his release.
That hasn't been granted yet, though.
No, and Lindsay Dorado is, his tag partner. Grand Metalik has not been on TV since he is, I think, asked for his release. September 13th main event was the last time he was on TV. Lindsay Dorado, September 20th on main event. Titus O'Neil, who is still listed as a Raw star on the website, though barely used as a wrestler anymore. He has not even wrestled at all in 2021. But even though he's listed on the website as a wrestler still. Shane Thorne, who was known as Slapjack in Retribution, has not really... I think he was quietly moved to SmackDown after Retribution broke up, but they have never, much like Mia Yim, they have never used him. But I think, did Mia Yim get drafted last night in the supplemental?
I don't believe she did. No, I think so. Yeah, she may have been in the supplemental. There were a lot of Liv Morgan was in that supplemental draft after you and I were done doing the live stream.
Yeah, I think so because she's not listed in this Fightful Select article, so I'm guessing I'm going to pull up the supplemental picks from last night.
So many names, dude. So many names.
Mia Yim did get drafted to Raw. So, and it's kind of funny. They listed in Wikipedia, they list her for her drafting pre-draft brand as NXT, which was weird because a lot of people said she was quietly moved to SmackDown like Shane Thorne when she was broken up with Retribution there. Elias has not appeared since the vignettes, which is kind of weird. They did all these vignettes for like a month and then forgot about him, I guess. I don't know.
They burned the guitar and you thought you're getting a whole new gimmick with him. And
yeah, they said Elias was dead, figuring maybe a new name or new look or something. They never followed up on it. So, who knows? So Elias was not in the pool. Eva Marie, she was not in the draft pool, written off of television with the Shayna Baszler attack. Very interesting name in Dakota Kai. She has not wrestled since she lost to Raquel Gonzalez on August 22nd. So that means she has not been on NXT 2.0 at all. And so it was the high expectation that she was going to get drafted because she's done 5 dark matches before SmackDown. So it was kind of a surprise to see her not in any draft pools at all. Casey Catanzaro was mentioned, but she's still active on NXT with her tag team with Caden Carter. But she had also worked some dark matches, but not really much of a surprise of Casey being left off draft pools since she's still active.
We also have Bailey. Bailey's been on the shelf for a while.
That was the first name I mentioned on there.
Yeah. So I mean, so I'm just saying that's plenty of good people that people thought were going to move. And there were some people that got drafted from NXT, like Ridge Holland, which people didn't expect at all. Ridge Holland was out of nowhere. He's been in the WWE fold for a while, but was on the shelf with 2 freak leg injuries that he suffered on NXT television well over a year ago. Poor guy. And he was just reintroduced, so I was surprised he got called up to SmackDown. He's like right on the biggest show in the world in wrestling.
I called it too. MVP, but I think he's more of a managerial type. Harry Smith has not debuted yet since his return to WWE, so
I wonder how he's going to be utilized, if they're going to put him on the main roster or use him on NXT.
And then Goldberg and John Cena, I think they're going to treat them as free agents like Brock Lesnar.
So I mean, there's plenty of people like that, and they did say I believe Edge got like a roster spot, but like it's
well, Edge got drafted to Raw, so
I mean, he could have been treated like a free agent as well, so it's kind of all over the place.
I think Edge is more full time than those guys, though.
Yes, much more.
Still not exactly full time because he'll be gone for a month at a time.
Gone for weeks at a time,
Yeah.
So, a lot of people sounding off here. Jason Campbell saying, well, I remember the WWE saying Elias needs to figure out his gimmick or he's fired or something like that. Yes. JMC, that is a situation where they ran those promos. And as we were talking about a few minutes ago, people thought maybe they would present him in a certain way, and that wasn't done at all.
No.
And Riddle texting in here is, why didn't they draft Liv Morgan on the show? Because she's doing great. And we, the fans, love her so much. I don't know. I also think this is just a matter of there's so much time. There's so many things they want to present. Did Liv Morgan need that boost, or just fans feel like she's getting screwed. She's getting screwed. And that narrative builds itself online.
Fans
just
never...
hang on, just like we saw with the Kevin Owens stuff, where everyone thinks Kevin Owens is leaving WWE because he doesn't look happy on television. When no one's asking him what he thinks, and he's goofing on the whole thing online anyway. So that's more people making their own narrative on the internet.
And plus, they got to realize this is not like a sports draft. The order outside of the first round, the order really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it in trivia. I mean,
it's where you end up. It's Rene Dupree. Where the talent ends up. Yeah.
Rene Dupree was a first pick overall in one of the drafts. And if that tells you anything. So draft order really doesn't matter here. People would love to see it matter because you could probably analyze it more. But in essence, the order really doesn't matter.
It's a kayfabe draft. It should
exactly
be like a sports draft. It's a.
I would like it to be, but maybe they don't want to hurt the feelings of some talents by making them the last round.
It wouldn't be as entertaining.
Yeah,
it would. I mean, after the first round or two, you wouldn't care because it would be it's legitimate, right? So that's the thing about it being entertainment.
That's why they popped a Finn Balor in late last night.
Exactly. Why did Finn go on in the third hour of the show? That makes no sense. It should be in the first draft. Like, then it doesn't matter. You're gonna bitch and complain about it anyway.
Yeah,
Tim Hardy says he loved the draft. Raw has been stacked. SmackDown still looks great. What brand do you think came out better? A lot of our analysis felt that Raw really got a lot more out of the draft on both nights in general. But let us know what you guys think in general here as this kind of plays out here. A lot more coming on here, and people excited for the future of WWE. I do think overall the draft was good, and Raw needed a kick in the pants, and it gets it. And you get some new things. You get, we're gonna talk here in just a second to Drew McIntyre. We also have some Bryan Danielson news, but some big names moved around in this draft. This is still a big change, and this isn't going to settle in until the 22nd, by the way. And our very good friend of the show, Jay Feliciano, talent will continue to shift beyond the draft up until Saudi. So the rosters as they are fine until the 22nd. So basically, they're letting whatever is on the books for Crown Jewel on the 21st play out. Then the draft, as it is now, plays in. So they're kind of this is just like we're just in like a holding pattern for the next until the pay-per-view. And then
there were reports also that you might see some cross-branded people coming over the next few shows. So it's possible that you'll see that.
Yeah, let me get our nameplates here off the screen as we're going to talk to Drew McIntyre. This interview is up right now, a really, really fun one. I know we talked to Drew a lot. We have a lot of access to him, and we're kind of blessed to do that. Thank you so much to WWE for hooking this up. Drew has a lot to say in this interview. I really, really suggest you go check it out. It is up now on the Sportskeeda YouTube channel, exclusively there. Here he is talking about the Royal Rumble coming to St. Louis. And then on top of that, we also just recently announced if you're in Rockford, it's not too far of a drive to get yourself down to St. Louis. January 29th, huge event, a massive stadium. Tickets will go on sale October 15th for the Royal Rumble 2022 at the Dome of America Center. It's going to be absolutely fantastic in St. Louis. I know you have a big connection with the Royal Rumble because that launched you into the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough to win it. It was in Houston, Texas, in the stadium there with 40,000 plus people. What an atmosphere. The Royal Rumble is such a fun event to attend. For the matches around the Royal Rumble are always very exciting, but the Royal Rumble itself, the anticipation who's coming up next, all the drama throughout, and the inevitable winner is such a fun show to watch and to be part of in the crowd. And my goodness, like winning the Rumble in front of that many people was incredible. And the fact that we're in St. Louis, we're back in a stadium, we could have that many people or more in St. Louis, and maybe I can repeat it, be a 2-time Royal Rumble winner and get my title back for a 3rd time, but for the 1st time in front of live fans, as I won it in front of nobody. Then the Thunderdome virtual fans, and I want to win it in front of actual fans this time.
Well, that leads me to this next question. Your career has been all these massive skyrocketing moments and then gut-wrenching like things that pull it back. The going into WWE, the chosen one, Vince McMahon himself crowns you, and then the setback, and you go back to the Indies, and you find yourself, and you're back in WWE and NXT, and then an injury, and then you get back to WWE, and you're gonna face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and then the pandemic, and then the weather, and then Lashley, and all these different things. It's always the up and down. It seems like you know how to take all this, almost like circumstances are the heaviest pen in terms of your story. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for doing all the research. That's basically my whole career summed up right there. But yeah, I mean, the reason I am today, the man I am today, the performer I am today, is because of not just the ups, but especially the downs and all the lessons.
You can get that entire interview up right now on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. Quite the conversation there with Drew. And we're getting into Royal Rumble time. We're already talking about Royal Rumble. We got new rosters. Things are going to shake out. We'll kind of have a definitely idea how things are going to be there. We got plenty of pay-per-views to get to before we get there. Yeah. Lots of episodes of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown before we get there. But I mean, if you want to start planning out, this is the thing. You got to do it months in advance. Royal Rumble, St. Louis. I went to the Royal Rumble in St. Louis 10 years ago when Sheamus won. It was quite the time. Well worth it. Those tickets go on sale once again October 15th. WWE Super Show Tour announced with dates in December. Those are going on sale this Friday, including Chicago December 18th and a Super Show in Rockford, Illinois on December 18th. If you want to win tickets to the Rockford show, you can do so at the xrockford.com. That is the xrockford.com. Thank you to 1049 The X hooking me up with it. That is my main radio job. They connected me on this interview. It's really, really cool. A very, very fun conversation. Also, very goofy conversation as well with Drew about the sword, about what it's like to bring that sword through TSA and how confusing that can be here. A lot to get into here in the weeks and months ahead. Let's talk, though, about a celebration of a wrestler who made some big moves recently. I'm talking about Bryan Danielson, arguably the best wrestler of his generation. Quite the celebration for him recently. Tell me about it.
Yeah, last night on the Twitter, Bryan Danielson announced that, well, this was his yesterday marked his 22 years since his debut. He had debuted in San Antonio, Texas at a rodeo, Far West Rodeo, but it was against a name you actually might have heard of, the Brian Kendrick. And Brian Danielson wrote on Twitter, October 4th, 1999 was my first ever professional wrestling match, 10-minute draw against Brian Kendrick at Far West Rodeo in San Antonio, Texas. It's been an amazing 22 years, but it still feels like the best is yet to come.
Quite a career. I mean, quite a career, quite an influential guy. Let us know what your favorite Brian Danielson match is in the comments. Would love to know that. He's my favorite wrestler. I don't care. I've seen him in a VFW hall in front of 200-300 people. I've seen him in a gym in front of 1,000. I've seen him in an arena in front of 18,000. I've seen him in a stadium in front of 80,000. He is the best. Every time he's on the show, 9 times out of 10, he's stealing the show. And he's already doing that, I think, in AEW. Like, I know CM Punk is a big guy who came there, but in terms of the person who's having these matches that are delivering on the hype, it's Brian Danielson. He's already had 2, and they've already been the best shows on each show that he's on.
Yeah, and you're also getting like a different personality of Danielson as well. You're getting more of an edgier guy that you did not get in WWE. So you're kind of getting more of probably the true Brian Danielson than you would with Daniel Bryan. And it's kind of funny to see him kind of act a different way kind of on AEW television.
People sharing some memories here of different Brian Danielson, Daniel Bryan matches in the past that they enjoyed. What's your favorite? You think DB, Brian Danielson, what's your favorite match by him?
Well, I did not get into Ring of Honor until 14 or 15, so I didn't get to see Danielson at that time.
Dude, his heel run as a champion there. Whew.
I've got some DVDs though. I've got a Steen DVD and I've got a Tyler Black DVD. And I think I have a Carino DVD as well. So I've got a few. I've been able to see a few, but not as they happen. I would say the triple threat at Mania 30, just because
special. That's one of the best WrestleMania endings of all time, and everyone knew where that was going. It was a predictable ending, but an ending you wanted to see. You just wanted to see it happen and see him break through.
Yeah,
and I think some people agree with that.
Yeah, the story and the energy in that match, the energy of the crowd in that match was just insane. It was like you'd never heard a crowd that loud before.
And definitely some of the best stuff in the past decade. Just this past decade that just closed up a few years ago.
And you had to bring a crowd back from the Undertaker's streak getting broken, which completely deflated that crowd. Mm-hmm. And you had to bring them back somehow, and that triple threat did it.
I know a lot of people think of his big wins as a hero, but I think of also Kofi Mania. He's a huge part of that at WrestleMania. That was the best match on that year's WrestleMania. He was the best villain on that show against the best hero, and they delivered in all points. I would argue he had one of the best matches that Brock Lesnar's had in the last 10, 15 years. Maybe one of the best matches of his career at Survivor Series a few years ago. He's just such a great storyteller when the bell rings. And gets the most out of a big match situation in the role that he's playing. And he's so organic. When so much in wrestling is a put on, right? You're all right, well, it's okay if it's tongue in cheek or it's this. Like, he's able to do almost all of it organically. The comedy stuff. He did that with Kane. All right. He did funny stuff. He did ridiculous things. He did serious heart-wrenching promos. He did villainous promos where he got the heat. He did the heel promos where he got you to laugh at him at the same time too.
Got fired
a lot of different things.
Got fired for choking Justin Roberts with a tie.
Oh, all of it, and then on top of it is a wrestler's wrestler. Like I said, I saw him wrestle in a VFW against Silas Young, and they tore it up, and it was awesome. Definitely amazing stuff here. A lot of people sounding off on this. Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you're watching on demand, what's your favorite Brian Danielson, Daniel Bryan match? I would love to know that as well. I wonder how soon he gets this belt. Does he get this belt off Kenny Omega down the line?
I'll let you know in about 27 hours, because if Hangman Page is the Joker tomorrow night, I think he's taking it at Full Gear.
I could go either way. On it. I know everyone just wants Hangman Page because it's been built up to, and they delayed it, and it was something that may or may not have been on the card for All Out, right?
Yeah, he's just. His wife gave birth, so we don't know when. but he's taking time off for that, and a lot of that was the reason why this got delayed out of All Out. And so I'll let you know in about 27 hours if I feel like Bryan Danielson is going to be the one to take the title off him.
We'll see how this thing plays out. Once again, our interview with Drew McIntyre is up now on the Sportskeeda YouTube channel, exclusively there. You will not get it on our Facebook. It is only on our YouTube. If you haven't done already, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube. A lot of content. We have Vince Russo, bro
counter.
Yes, we have the bro counter with him. He is on the channel. We have Dutch Mantel on the channel as well. A lot of exclusive stuff. We did a recent interview as well with Liv Morgan. And later this week, I'll be talking to Dominic Mysterio. Dominic has not done a lot of media interviews. This will be an interesting conversation with him, considering the issue with his father. And yes, I will talk to him about that. I will talk to him about his dad. I will ask, are we getting this match? Are you going to wrestle your own father? I will go there. I will.
Ray keeps saying he's not going to, which means it's going to happen.
You never know.
He said it in an interview. He does not want to wrestle his son, but I think he's keeping it close to the vest. I think he wants to not telegraph that heel turn that we all know that's coming.
A lot more to come, and also I'll have a big, long conversation coming up on Thursday with the Inside Cradle, our weekly deep dive, which goes over an hour. That is up now, by the way, with an interview with Bronson Reed, fresh off his WWE run. So go check that out. And if you can't watch all of our stuff, maybe you just want to have the audio. Well, guess what? Go get the podcast. All right, go get the podcast. Hours of audio, just like you see in video form. Available for you on Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. Thank you for putting us on the charts in the United States and Australia, in Great Britain, and other countries and beyond. We cracked the top 20 in Ghana, baby. Ghana, West Africa. Thank you so much.
Home of Kofi.
Home of Kofi. Thank you guys so much here. Appreciate all the support. Remember, when watching wrestling, you got to do the most important thing with the wrestling. All right? You shout, yes, 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 towards the ceiling for the good guys and the bad guys. I don't know why I'm doing this voice. Sound like Chris Slay from Monday Nights on USA Network. But no, Jeremy, when you're watching wrestling, tell them what they have to do.
You got to enjoy wrestling. Yeah.
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 Yes.
I didn't get drafted, but let me talk to you.